Hey guys, I'm here. We'll get started in just 1 second. I want to give everybody a chance to join. I will say that this is just going to be kind of like spaces, just me talking about what I would normally talk about in spaces, voice only. I don't really need to show my face while we're sitting here just talking about our current positions and answering questions. So I'll let a few more people join and then we can get going. If my dogs start barking, I will just immediately mute because I've got a very high pitched puppy. And so it will hurt your ears if she barks. So if you hear a dog bark and then I mute, I'm not gone, I'm just muting. But Rod, I'm going to talk all about BBAI for the first 10 minutes while you're here. I don't know why you're hating on BBAI, but so give me just 1 sec. Okay, we can go ahead and get started. If any, a lot of people have joined, so that's good. But if any of you weren't here at the beginning, I said I'm just going to handle this like I would Spaces on X. Every time I'm on Spaces, I have a bad experience. I'm either cutting in and out, or it cuts me off early, or I don't know if it's just me or if that's just how Spaces is. But I never have a super successful Spaces, so I'm just doing it on YouTube for that reason. So there's that. And then I also said that if my dogs start barking, I will just immediately mute so it doesn't hurt your ears. But I'm not disappearing. I'm just going to mute and shut them up. Okay, so first of all, I want to say thank you. Thank all of you guys for subscribing to me and on YouTube and on X and Discord and all the things that I've got going on now. It's really funny because I was always anti social media. Like I've never had Facebook ever. I have a small Instagram page that I had for my salon. So and I don't even keep it up. It's just we opened it to have our salon on Instagram, but then we just never used it. So have it. So basically, I don't have that either. Of course, I'm on YouTube, and then I joined X a couple of years ago because someone recommended it to me because there's a lot of option sellers on X. And I was like, oh, that would be cool to have like a community of option sellers. Because, when you're doing it by yourself, it's kind of boring. So, of course, so many option sellers there that are just amazing. So that's fun to share ideas and see other people's profits and losses and, all of that. So, anyway, then I started getting into X and now here I am on YouTube. So that's it's crazy. It's been quite a transition. And then of course having subscriptions over there, that's wild as well. 1 sec. Okay. So that's kind of wild too. If I cut off at all or you guys can't hear me, please somebody put it in the chat so I'll know and I'm not just talking to myself. That would be great. And then also nobody will miss out on any information. Okay, so I think this week we have all been making pretty good money on our positions, which is great. But also, in a way, it's kind of bad. It's kind of good, it's kind of bad for a few reasons. One, the market's running up, so a lot of us are getting crushed with covered calls. I know I did with Arcat running up so fast. I've been forced to sell shares at $10, 10.50, and 11, and it's well above 13. I'm not rolling them out because I would rather just take. I'm using this as my wheel. This is not Arcat is not one of my long-term positions. So there are reasons to roll covered calls out if you didn't want to lose your shares, or if this is a long-term position that you don't want to lose your shares, so on and so forth. Each portfolio is different, each person is different, each trade is different. So, but for me, RCAT is for wheeling. So I will not roll these. I will just let them go. I let 500 shares go last Friday. I made $675 profit. I'm not complaining, although I could have made quite a bit more, probably another $500 to $600 more. if I did not have covered calls. But you know what? That's part of the wheel. It's part of the game. And I got my money back, my capital back, and I entered more cash secured puts. So, I'm not going to complain. That's just the way it goes. Luckily, I did not have all of my shares covered. So I did go ahead and sell 100 shares on my own, and collected $200 profit. And then I've still got 100 shares completely uncovered. So I'm just going to let them run and see how high we can go with this. Or I may sell like, $20 or $16 something covered calls. I haven't even looked into it yet, but we'll see. I'm just going to play it by ear. Another thing is AMDL. I think it was even just last week I was saying I have shares, 300 shares at $18.50, and how that is such a terrible average. And I want to get out because it's way above my sweet spot of 14, possibly even 12. But today we have reached 1880. So this is what these volatile stocks can do, especially when you're talking leveraged like AMDL and TSLL, and SOXL hit $60 today. In April, when Trump was talking about tariffs, it dropped to $7, and today it is at 60. So keep these numbers in mind when you are trading, especially leveraged, because this is the moves that they can make. Also, back in April, TSLL dropped to 6, and then it ran up to 23, and now we're sitting at 18. So you just really, really have to keep these in mind. Keep these numbers in mind. If SOXL drops to $6 or $7, or even, I don't know, $10, get in. Like, don't wait. Don't wait for me. Don't wait for, any type of confirmation. Just get in. Either sell cash secured puts or buy shares and wait, because those kind of dips, they just don't last long, and people don't take advantage of it out of fear. So, you just got to keep them in mind, have your sweet spots in place, and just know that it's something that you're bullish on, or you wouldn't have it on your watch list in the first place. So, and that's my next thing, is the watch list. My watch list that I have for my subscribers, I have my watch list, and then I have the sweet spots for each stock and ETF. And but those are my opinion. Someone else might be a little less risky, and they would say, TSLL at, I don't know, 14 is way too high for me. And so you just need to know that. Or some people say, hey, I'm comfortable getting into TSLL at 17. You have to know your risk tolerance, and you have to know your stock or your ETF, which TSLL is Tesla. So if you're a Tesla bull and you think Tesla is going to run back up to 500 and beyond, hey, $17 or $18 for TSLL is great. If you're, if that's what you think. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, do your own research. If you think AMD is going to run, to $300 at some point, then AMDL at 18 also isn't bad. But for me, it's a little high for my risk tolerance. So I am actively getting out of AMD. I've got an 850 call tomorrow, and I've got a $19 covered call for tomorrow, two of those. So I did sell against my full position, sell covered calls against my full position, not because I'm an AMD bear, but because my cost basis being at 1850 is too high for me. I want more like 14. So I do have, no, I closed out my $14 cash secured puts yesterday, I believe, or day before yesterday. Went ahead and closed those out because we were above 80%. So I was like, why risk it? Just take the profits, get my buying power back, and get into something else. But I do still have the February 20th $12 cash secured puts. They are up 67%. So we're doing well on those. That was not my trade idea. It was somebody in my Discord group. So shout out to them, because I think a few of us entered and we're doing well. So that's great. So I'll go over a few of our current positions and profits, and then anybody that has any questions, just shoot them in the chat right now and I will answer them. And I have a few questions that people have asked me to discuss. So I will discuss those at the end after we go over our current positions real quick and our plans. So I know all of you that are trading with me are in BBAI. Some of us have different strikes, expirations, amount of contracts, whatever. So I just to make sure everybody understands, BBAI is not a long-term hold for me. I am bullish, but I'm not like, oh, this thing's going to run like Palantir. A lot of people think it might, and it might. I mean, who knows? But for now, it's just a trade for me. I'm bullish on it as a trade. I do think it can easily run back up to $8. Easily. That's my price target on it is $8. But yesterday, it dropped below 6. I mean, it was like 580. And I had a couple people make comments like, "Oh, we're below 6, you know." And I said, "Just wait it out. Just wait it out." And today we're at $6.40. That is quite a move for a stock that's only $6. So, you know, the reason we are in BBAI and the reason I'm wheeling it is because it's a volatile stock. It's going to drop below 6 again, and it's going to run to 8 at some point. So we don't panic. We take advantage of the sale when it drops, and then we take profits when it runs up. Don't hold forever. If it hits $8, we need to be getting out. And I don't mean every single share that you own, but you need to be taking some extreme profits at $8 because it's hit resistance at $8 a few times, but it's also run to 10. So we just have to see what's going on in the market, what's going on with the stock. Did it run up due to earnings? Did it run up because the whole market's running up? Did it run up just because AI is running up? I mean, was there actual news for Big Bear? There are so many catalysts that can make a stock run up or drop, and those catalysts are what tells us what we need to do next. Hold it a little longer, get rid of it, take profits, cut a loss. I mean, if they go bankrupt, we cut a loss, we get out. So there's all sorts of reasons and things that we would consider when we're talking about taking profits or taking losses. So you just have to keep up with the stock, but it is a volatile stock. So that's why a lot of times I go with you guys when I'm telling you a trade that I am taking. It's going to be like a $5.50 strike due to that volatility and you guys not having a panic attack every time it drops under $6. But I also do have some $6 cash secured puts. And I also sold last week, I sold one $6.50 cash secured put. So it was in the money. I only sold one. I received $52. So as long as it stayed at or above $6, I wouldn't lose any money and I wouldn't get assigned. And today we're at 640, so I'm up 63% on the trade. So there's a lot of different ways to trade it, and I do try to explain when I go into these trades why I'm taking it and why I'm taking a certain amount of contracts. Like I entered one this morning. Was that this morning? I think it was this morning that I entered 20 contracts. Anyway, it doesn't matter. If I enter 20 contracts, it's because I'm feeling good about that trade. If I'm only taking one contract, that means I'm testing the waters. We'll see what happens. If I get assigned 100 shares, it's not the end of the world. So, I mean, it varies, and there's reasons why it varies. So this morning, I'm sure you guys saw, I posted it, but I did go ahead and close out 41 contracts. So I had January 23, $5.50 cash secured puts. I had 31 contracts. That's more than I've ever sold with BBAI. That was my max. And basically I had I think I started with like 10 or 20. And then when it dipped, I added contracts to the position to receive more premium. So I ended up with a total of 31 contracts. I closed them out this morning at 80% and I profited $744 on that trade and got all of my buying power back, and I'm going to roll it into new BBAI cash secured puts. I also closed out my January 30th. I only had 10 contracts of a $5 cash secured put and profited $270. So I had $1,000 morning just closing out BBAI contracts. To me, that's huge. Like that's amazing. And the fact that I still have 1,252 shares that are all in profit, and I've got, I don't know, maybe 100 contracts, 90 contracts, cash secured puts left. So those are doing well. And all of you guys that are in BBAI, hopefully you're all doing well. I will say I owned shares a while back at $6 and it did drop to 4. And I was, thinking, oh God, this is a dead stock. I'm stuck. And then we run back up. So if we drop to 4, let's don't all freak out. We all just buy more or sell more cash secured puts. And hopefully you're in some covered calls that you'll make some profits on. Okay, so we'll go down the list to BMNU that is down again today. BMNR is just, I don't know, it was so good for so long and then it's just not. I will say BMNR is at 31, so I mean, that's not terrible. I own shares at 40 and I do have a covered call. So BMNU though, and MSTU, especially BMNU, is just so manipulated. Those are just so manipulated. So when I was on Spaces with Rod the other day, we were talking about crypto in general and how it's risky. But I was also saying that like when you're in a regular stock like BBAI or Arcat or Open, I don't know, all the things that people trade. You're dealing with the individual name and what happens with the company, and you're also dealing with the overall stock market because if you're in what I just say, if you're in, let's say BBAI, if the overall market tanks, so does BBAI. I mean, it has nothing to do with the company. It has nothing to do with the stock as an individual. It is the full stock market. So you're relying on two things. You're relying on the name and you're relying on the stock market. But if you're trading something like BMNR or MSTR, you're relying on three things. You're relying on the company, you're relying on the overall stock market because it is a stock, and you're relying on crypto. So because it's going to run with crypto no matter what. It's just a sympathy play. It doesn't matter if crypto goes up, they're going to go up for the most part. So you're relying on three factors. So they're going to be more risky. And that includes CleanSpark, that includes Mara, that includes Riot, that includes anything that's crypto related that's a stock or an ETF. So if you're just an investor, you're better off investing in Ethereum over BMNR or Bitcoin over MSTR. I mean, that's common sense. But you can't wheel them. You can't wheel crypto. Well, I mean, as far as I know, you can't. I mean, you can wheel crypto ETFs, but I don't think you can just wheel Bitcoin. So anyway, so that's the reason I'm in them. I'm still holding. I've got my BMNU. I've got 445 shares at a $25 cost basis, and we're sitting at 618. So that's not good. I do have two $5 cash secured puts that expire tomorrow, so I should make $150 on those. I'm not going to count those as profit. I'm going to take that $150 and use it towards my share value, so that I can start bringing the cost basis of my shares down. I also sold a risky, so I never recommend doing this, but I sold one $13 covered call that expires tomorrow, and I will make $32 off of that. No big deal. It was just one. But $32, again, not taking profit, not calling that profit. I'm going to deduct that from my share value. So anybody that wants to know how to do that or wants to take that little bit of risk and maybe just sell one covered call to start making some money while you're holding these shares, just reach out. In my Discord, I've got a channel for every single stock that we're trading. And I do have a channel for BMNU and MSTU. So in there, we can discuss things like this, like selling a covered call under your cost basis, which can be very risky. You need to know your risks, but I don't mind explaining how it's done. We are also in Bull, BULL. It's not doing well. I'm down 20% on my shares. I have not sold covered calls, and I'm not going to sell covered calls until we get to my cost basis of $10.65. It sounds terrible, that I'm down 20%, but that's only $2. If it can get one good bump, one good push due to earnings or news or, something, we'll be right back up to where we were. So I'm not concerned about it. I'm just going to hold it and wait. Um, I've got CleanSpark. I told you guys I'm trying to get out of CleanSpark and Mara. So I've got shares. I'm selling aggressive covered calls and I'm trying to get out. So anybody else that's in them, in those, and they want to exit positions without taking a loss, I'll be more than happy to tell you what I'm doing with my covered calls. I don't announce it. I don't post those trades because I'm just trying to get out of them. I've got two EOSE cash secured puts. They're up 60%, doing well on those. I'm trading that lightly because I'm learning it. I've still got the HIMS shares, HIMZ. They're at a $10 cost basis. I'm down like 50% on those. Whatever. When it does run, it will run big. So, I'll sell covered calls against it when it runs up a little bit. But again, it's only 100 shares, so I don't mind. I'm testing the waters with it. So, it's fine. Just hold it and wait. ONDS, we are in two of those. I think a few of you closed them like the next day after we entered because they were up 50%. So you may have already taken profits. I'm up 60%. I will most likely close soon. It doesn't expire till the 30th. Arcat, Arcat, oh my God. It's doing so well. Our all of our cash secured puts are up, all of our shares are up, our covered calls are not up, but we will make profits on the covered calls. I'm going to lose 500 shares tomorrow at $10.50, but my cost basis is $8.48, so that's going to be a pretty nice profit. It'll be 200. So make $1,000 on that trade. Could I have made a lot more due to the fact that it's almost at 14? Yes. But you know what? I'm going to walk away with $1,000 and I'm going to take that capital and sell new cash secured puts at probably a $10 strike, $9 or $10 strike. I'll just have to look and see when we get there. I did a gamble trade. I didn't tell anyone, but one of my friends reached out and she was like, look at SMX. The IV was 430, I believe. Crazy. So let's see. Yeah, so 430% IV. That is a total gamble when you're dealing with an IV that high. I like around 90 to 100 IV. So, you know what? I was like, heck yeah, I'm going to go in and sell one contract. So I sold one $10 put for February 20th, and I'm up 19%. So I'm up $35 on it. I'm just going to hold it and just see what happens. That's my gamble trade. And then, of course, I'm still in TSLL. I've got 100 shares at a $12 cost basis. And I'm still in some cash secured puts that I opened a while ago. It's just very strange how the contracts aren't moving. Even when TSLL ran up a couple of days, the contracts barely moved. So that's kind of strange. I don't know. I'm up like 50%, 44%, 36%. One of them I'm only up 6%. I don't know. It's just random. Usually the contracts move fairly quickly. So not sure what's going on with that, but whatever. At least I'm up on them and I'll wait. Okay, so let me get to you guys' questions real quick, and then we'll move on to some questions that I've gotten in the chat. Okay, Broncos fan just sold a cash secured put at $11. Are you talking about Arcat? Because that's that would still be a very good cost basis. What is your strike? I mean, no, got your strike. What's your expiration on that? Second thing, hey Rod, glad to see you on. Tesla Groupie is the bomb. Oh, thanks. So helpful. I've recently sold a lot of cash secured puts on BBAI. Do you have? No, he doesn't have an opinion on it at all. I don't even think he knows what BBAI is. He just is tired of hearing me talk about it and telling him, get in this trade with me. He's not wheeling at the moment that I know of. He's doing the Roddy strategy. And so that's different. and he's got his list of um, stocks and ETFs that he is using for the ROTI, and BBAI is not one of them. Ambassador on our spaces the other day, and Ambassador kind of explained why BBAI is not great for the ROTI, but I don't know how the ROTI trades work yet. I'm going to dive into that at some point, but I haven't yet. So I don't know how they work. So I don't know why BBAI isn't great, but he did explain it a little bit. Ambassador does trade BBAI, but he does not like it for the ROTI for some reason. So there is a reason. But no, he's not like bearish on BBAI or anything. Okay, random videos. Yes, SMX. I don't know where my friend found it. Let me tell you guys about my friend. I met her on Discord probably 5 years ago. And we traded a lot, not 5 years ago, probably in 2021. So yeah, that's basically 5 years ago. She is my gambling girl. This girl is a straight up gambler in the market. She doesn't necessarily, she'll sell cash secured puts here and there, and she'll do options here and there, but for the most part, she just takes $100,000 and dumps it into a stock and lets it run up and buys it. I mean, and sells it. So I have watched her make $40,000 in one morning when a stock ran up 40%. And I've watched her lose $40,000 in one morning, and she's pissed. So it goes both ways. But what she does is she goes on one of these stock screeners in the mornings, like pre-market, and she will just jump into these plays pre-market before she goes to work. And she'll just dump this $100,000 in and sell it. So she's gotten pretty good at it, but she'll see these stocks, and then if they have a high IV or whatever, she'll send me some of the names, and I'm like, I don't know. But this SMX one, yeah, I tried it. So I'm not recommending anyone else try it, but I tried it with one contract. So that'll be my little gamble. Been killing it on TSLL and CleanSpark this week, both directions. That's awesome, Bruce. Yeah, both of those. They've been moving. CleanSpark ran up pretty good yesterday, I believe. With the today it's down a little bit, but yesterday with crypto running up, I was just really rooting for crypto, hoping that Bitcoin would reach 100 again. It didn't quite make it, but it will. And I keep saying once it hits 100, you're going to have FOMO buyers jump in, and they're just going to push it, and it's just going to fly. I don't know how long that'll take, but it will. Okay, let's see. Pay the piper. Do you sell calls out 2 months? If you can still make premium pay. I normally don't sell calls out that far. Cash secured puts I do. Cash secured puts I go out 3 to 6 weeks or even further. I mean, I've got some cash secured puts that I sold out to 2027, January 2027. I won't hold them that long, but they're paying good premium. When they hit like 50%, I close them. But I do not do that with covered calls. I really try to stay with like weeklies, bi-weeklies, maybe 3 weeks max. I would not go out 2 months because a stock can move so much in 2 months and you can get burned bad. And if it, like, let's say you sold covered calls on SOXL or Arcat, and they ran up. I mean, Arcat's up like 50% in the last couple of weeks, and you couldn't do anything for another 2 months with it. Like, you're stuck. It could be back down in 2 months. It could continue running higher, way higher. There's a lot that can go on in 2 months, and you can't do anything. You're just kind of stuck. So unless it just really drops and you can close out the covered calls, that'd be the only way that they would do well. Otherwise, you're stuck in the covered call and you're stuck with the shares. But big but, if you are selling covered calls to receive a little premium while you're holding shares long term, like you have no intention on selling these shares, sure, yeah, do it. I mean, I know people that will sell covered calls out a year because they have no intention on selling their position. So they'll go very, very high with the strike, and then let it run, because the premiums would be great because the expiration's so far out. So, it's really all just depends on, there's no right answer, no right or wrong. It depends on your portfolio and what your plan was when you opened the trade in the first place. Okay, let's see. Arcat. Oh, ONDS 130. Okay, that's good. ONDS 130, $11. Okay. Okay, so I did $10 and you did $11. Okay, that's great. Hi, Ambassador. Actually, I was just talking about you. I was just saying how in our spaces the other day, you were saying BBAI is not necessarily good for the Roddy, but I cannot remember why. We know it's good for wheeling, but for some reason it's not great for the Roddy, but I couldn't remember why you said. Let's see. Any interest in Netflix seeing support? For me, no. I'm not trading Netflix. I do like that they did the split and now it's affordable, but for now it's not on my watch list. I haven't even looked at it. I don't even know what the IV is or anything. I wouldn't be opposed to maybe one contract, but for $100 stock, you need a lot of capital. If you're talking selling options, if you're talking like a cash secured put, yeah, you would need a lot of capital. So real quick, I also want to go over our 10K challenge, our double my account challenge that we started at the beginning of the year. We started it January 1st. Any of you that are in it with me, hopefully you were able to get into the trades that I have called out and been able to close the trades that we were trying to close. So the only trade that we've closed so far is Arcat, and we made $50 profit. Not huge, but we're taking this account slow and steady. We're not getting risky. I do call out my trades in Discord and on X. I call out my regular trades that can sometimes be a little riskier. But when I say challenge trade or I put it in my challenge channel, that's going to be a little bit of a lower risk and maybe a further out expiration date. But all of our plays are in. We're doing good. We're up. We have 3 BBAI. We're up 72%, 20%, 8%. We've got 1 ONDS. We're up 20%. We've got 2 Arcat trades that are up 60% and 41%. And we closed out some contracts this week. So as the portfolio, I started with 10K. Some people started with more or less. But I am trying to double this account in 2026. And I know you might look at it and go, okay, well, we're, halfway into January and you've only made $50. But the thing is, I'm setting up the plays and the trades to take profits later. And the profits that I'm taking give me more money to trade with later. So the profits will start coming in later in the year. Right now, it's just about getting into the trades and keeping some money on the sidelines in case we do have a nice dip where we can really get into some good trades. But right now, market's at all-time highs. It's hard to get into, many positions safely because we could have a pullback at any time. So there's that. All right. So I had someone ask me sorry about my dog, if I ever close cash secured puts, if they are up 50% in a day. And that has happened to us. There is no right or wrong answer for that. So what I told her when she asked me is, if it's taking up a good chunk of your capital, or if it's risky to you, maybe you don't know the name, or you got into a strike that's a little higher than you're comfortable with. It's a stock that you just do not, under any circumstances, want to own the shares. If you're running low on buying power, these are reasons you would go ahead and close them. Sure. When we got in our EOSE trade, when did we get in that? We got into it on the 14th. Wait. No, we didn't just enter that. Why does it say the 14th? Anyway, doesn't matter. Okay. So when we entered it, that's today. Isn't that yesterday? I'm confused. Anyway, when we entered it, it immediately ran up. Oh, no, wait. I'm thinking of ONDS. Okay, yeah, ONDS. That's the one. ONDS, we entered on the 7th of January. By the next morning, we were up 40%. So people were asking me, should I go ahead and close? I'm like, it's up to you. It's 100% to you. a 40% in a day is great. For me, I was like, I'm only in 2 contracts. It's a cheap stock. It's not taking up much of my buying power. I'm going to hold it a little longer. I'm probably going to hold it till 80%. I got paid $45 on the contracts. I'd like to make not $80 or $90 on that trade. Again, I don't feel like it's super risky being a $10 strike. I also don't, it's not taking up much of my buying power. It's taking up $2,000. And again, not much, I don't feel like it's super risky. So I'm going to hold. If it were taking up quite a bit of my buying power, or it's a super risky trade for me, I would definitely close it. Why hold? When you see profits, take profits. You're not going to go broke taking profits. All you got to do is wait for the next red day and re-enter. So it's really just completely up to you. But those are the reasons I would close it. You need more capital for new trades. You feel like your risk is a little too high. And all the things that I just mentioned. You're maybe too many contracts. Maybe you're already holding 5,000 shares and you really don't want any more. There's multiple reasons you would go ahead and close it. But regardless, taking profits is never, ever a bad idea. And again, you can always re-enter. I mean, that's the thing with this. Take your profits and re-enter. You can re-enter at the same strike and just go a little further out with your expiration date and do it again. Okay, so here's a question that I really, really like that someone asked me, and I really do think it's important that we discuss this and go into detail about it. And you guys ask any questions that you have, whether you're watching this right now, listening to this right now, or whether you listen to it later, and you can ask me in the chat or DM me, whatever you want to do. But this is important. So if you don't understand, ask me. So someone said, how do I determine my expiration date when I'm trying to sell a cash secured put? So here is what I do. And I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, or that this is the only way to trade, or by all means, I am not the perfect trader. I feel like it right now because we're in a bull market, but but I'm not, because as soon as we're not in a bull market, everybody's going to be, in a bad place, and suddenly everybody's not so smart anymore. But for now, this is how I do it. Let's just say I wanted to sell a cash secured put on BBAI. Okay. And I've never done it. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. I see people talking about BBAI. I'm going to enter. But I don't know where to start. Okay. So the first thing is find your sweet spot. What is your sweet spot? Where would you be okay owning shares? For me, I already own 1,252 shares at a $6 cost basis. I do not want to own shares above $6, period. I would love to own shares under $6. I would love to own shares even closer to $5. So find your sweet spot of your stock. That's first and foremost. Where will you be comfortable holding shares? Where has the stock dropped recently, or within the last year? Or, I always go back to April. How low did we go back in April when this market was tanking hard due to the tariffs? BBAI dropped to $2 last April. Do I think it'll drop to $2 again? No. It only dropped to $2 because of that tariff news. So unless there's some kind of stock market crash or something, crazy, it's not going to go to $2 again. So where's the next place that it goes to comfortably? $4. It went to $4. It has hit $4 quite a few times over the last few years, and it has stuck at $4 over the last few years. It has also run up to $10 in the last few years. So there is for me, that is my range from $4 to $10. It's not going to drop to $4 easily, and it's not going to run to $10 easily. So between 6 and 8 is my sweet spot. I'm happy owning shares at or below $6. I'm happy selling my shares at $8. If I lost all my shares at $8, I would be okay. 100% okay. It can keep running to 10, whatever, that's fine, but I will take my profits at $8. So that's what you first need to know, all of that. Once we're past that and you're ready to open a trade, Okay, so that's when we would go into finding we've got our strike. We want a $5, 5.50, or $6 strike. And that's going to depend on your individual risk tolerance. So that's where you need to go next. Then you pick your expiration. I'm on my phone, so I'm going to switch over to my app here and make sure you guys can still hear while I'm on it. Let's see. Yeah, you can. Okay. So let's go over here and we would go to BBAI. We know our sweet spot. Now, if we tried to sell a cash secured put for next week, which is January 23rd, and we wanted to do, I don't know, a 550, you only receive $6 in premium. $6. That is not worth my time. Unless I was going to sell, I don't know, 500 contracts. It's not even worth my time to receive $6. So that's out of the question. So then we're going to go the next week, January 30th. A 550 pays $13. That's not terrible. I would try to go to 15, but I would still want more. Again, I typically go 3 to 6 weeks out anyway. So I'm just giving y'all some examples. Okay, so then we would go out to the next week, which would be February 6th. And we would look at the 550 contracts. They are paying $18. That's the mid. 18, I would try to get 20. That would leave you at if you were assigned shares, a cost basis of $5.30. So if you really did not want to go further out with the expiration date, you just don't like to wait, you could do the February 6th. That would be 1 to 3 weeks out. And that's where I would begin. Again, 3 to 6 weeks out. So I would try to get $20. That's not bad. $20, especially if you could sell multiple contracts. If you could sell 5 contracts, you'd make $100. And that's pretty low risk considering you would get assigned shares at $5.30. If then at that point, I would say, how many shares do I ultimately want? If I want 100 shares, I would start with, I'm sorry. If I wanted to sell 5 contracts to make $100, I would start out with 4 contracts. Go ahead and sell 4 contracts, keep money on the sidelines for that 5th one, because if the stock drops, you can receive more premium. So you could receive $25 later if you wait. Or it may run up and you go ahead and close it. Doesn't matter. Either way, you're safe. Okay, so then I would go out to February 13th, and here's where we're going to start making more premium. For February 13th expiration, a $5.50 cash secured put would pay you $23. That's the mid. I would try to go for $25. That to me is worth it, considering the amount of collateral you need is only $550 per contract, and you'll make $25 per contract. So to me, that's worth it. Now, when BBAI drops back down closer to 6, you can receive even more premium. But let's just say we're using this as an example. But $25 per contract for $550 collateral to me is great, because again, I sell multiple contracts. So then I would go out to and that the next thing I would look at is the IV. It's 82. That's okay. I prefer it a little closer to 100, but it's not bad. The spread, the bid ask spread is 21 to 23. So it's a nice tight spread. When you have a wide spread, it's harder to open them, and it's very hard to close them early. Very hard. Not that it can't be done. I do it all the time with AMDL, but just know you may be holding till expiration due to the fact that you can't close it early because of that spread. So I do like to look at that. I take it with a grain of salt, but I do like to look at that. The open interest is 970, so it's got a nice, good open interest. So you have buyers and sellers, and the delta is 22. People like to go below 20 because that gives you an 80% chance of assignment. Not assignment, 80% chance of profit, 20% chance of assignment. 22 though is fine, again, because we're in our sweet spot. So it doesn't matter. I don't really even pay that close attention to delta, but that's what it is. So I would be happy selling those. Then I would go out to February 20th and just see what the difference is. Well, February 20th doesn't even have a 550 expiration. A 550 strike. So you're either stuck with 6 which could be a little risky to some people, or a $5, which only pays $14. So I'd skip right over that expiration date, not interested. Then I would go to February 27th, and those are paying nicely. A $6 cash secured put would pay you $56. So if you were to be assigned the shares, your cost basis would be $5.44. So that's pretty good. If you don't get assigned, you're making $56 per contract. And that is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks out from tomorrow. Or you could go a little less risk for a 550 put, and you would make $35 per contract. That's probably what I would do. I would either go with that February 13th expiration or that February 27th expiration. Those would be my two expirations. The next one is not until March 20th. So March expirations have not opened up yet. So you would have to go with the March 20th. I actually have opened some in March. Let's see what I have. I have 20 contracts. I have 20 contracts of the $5 put for March 20th. I was paid $40 per contract. So I'm up 15% right now. But I still like it at $35. So if you could get in that. But let's see what the IV is 85. So that's good. The bid ask spread is not quite as tight. It's 28 to 39. So that's why your mid would be 34, which I would try for 35. I just like even numbers. And the delta is 25. So the delta is a little high. But again, I would be comfortable owning shares at $5.44. So the trade is low risk to me, even though the delta would say otherwise. So that's how I pick my expiration in detail. So sorry if that's boring, but any of you that want to know how to pick your expiration, for me, that's the way to do it. And you can do that with all of your stocks. But just keep in mind that your leveraged ETFs, TSLL, AMDL, SOXL, TQQQ, all of these leveraged, they move quite a bit faster. So you do want to make sure that you are going lower with your strike. Okay, let's see. You can also look at the strike and expiration pays you required percent return if you want. For me, that's 45% to start out. Yes, I always do that too. I do my calculations to find out what my return on investment is. And I usually post that to you guys unless I'm trying to get the trade out quick. I do look for a 5% as well, 3 to 5%, depending on my, my risk tolerance for that specific name. If I'm trying out a name for the first time, I am okay with a 3% because I'm testing it out and, I'm just going to go a little slower with it. But some of the other ones that I can have a little riskier, I do want my 5% return on investment for sure. One more thing I wanted to discuss is a lot of times when people get assigned shares, they think that's a loss. Okay, you've sold a cash secured put, the stock drops and you're assigned shares, and oh my gosh, I'm at a loss. I lost this trade. And that is just not the case. I made more money on shares that I was assigned last year than I made on cash secured puts. And here's why. You get assigned the shares. Last year, I got assigned TSLL at $12, 2,900 shares. TSLL had dropped to 6. I was assigned shares all over the place, and I was negative on those shares at a $12 cost basis. So I could have oh my God, I'm in the negative. I've got 2,900 shares. I'm down thousands of dollars. What am I going to do? This is a losing trade. And then TSLL ran up to $23. And I had 2,900 shares at a $12 cost basis. That's where I made most of my money in 2025. Let's bring us up to date. A couple of weeks ago, I was assigned AMDL at 1850. Is that higher than I would like to own shares? Absolutely. I was down hundreds of dollars. Did I whine and cry and say it's a losing trade and blah, blah, blah? No, I didn't. And now we're well above $18 again. Let's see, not well above, we're at 1868. That's how quickly these trades can move, and that's where you make your money. A lot of us were assigned shares of Arcat. And some of us got assigned shares early An early assignment is rare. And a couple of us were like, oh crap, we just got to sign these shares of Arcat early. And it was below $10, but a below $10 cost basis. Mine was like 850, I think, something like that. And I was like, ugh, because Arcat had dropped to 6. So we're like, oh no, this is terrible. We're owning them at 850 and it's only at 6. Yeah, well, now it's at 14. So I am literally up now. Again, I sold some covered calls, so I did cap my profits. But if you just look at my shares, I'm up like between the two accounts, I'm up like $7,000 on the shares. So the shares, being assigned shares is where you will eventually make your money if you are bullish on the stock. Again, we are trading stocks that we are bullish on. So just keep that in mind. Those are 3 examples I've given you that I have made thousands and thousands of dollars on by being assigned the shares, not just selling the cash secured puts. So, we got to keep that in mind. If BBAI were to drop to $5, I would start just accumulating shares immediately. I wouldn't even, I would sell cash secured puts as well for the heck of it, but I would accumulate as many shares as I can at $5 so that when it runs back up to 7 or 8, I'm going to make a killing on those shares. So keep that in mind. Getting assigned shares is not a losing trade. That is where you will eventually make the big bucks, more than you'll make selling options. So let's just all keep that in mind for the next time we're assigned shares. Now we're holding BMNU and MSTU, and I don't know how long those are going to take to recover, but I do think they will. And one day we're going to look back and go, oh, okay, that's not too bad. I don't know if you guys know 10X over on X. He's one of my very good friends, and he was one of my first subscribers on X. And we've traded a lot together, and we were trading. I told him, let's get in SOXL. He didn't even know what it was, but it's 3X leverage, so the sucker moves. We were in let's see, our cost basis was $30 when it dropped to $7 in April. Okay, cost basis of $30, it dropped to 7. He was like, should we take a loss on this? And I'm like, no. SOXL is semiconductors. It's AMD, it's Nvidia, it's Apple. I'm like, it is, well, Broadcom. It is all of semiconductor. They're going to come back. The market's just down. Let's just wait. And SOXL is at $60 right now. Of course, we got out of it at, I got out of it at 50. He got out of it, I think, at 38. So we made a killing on those shares. So, holding shares is not a bad thing. So just keep that in mind. Don't panic. Don't worry. If it's a stock you believe in, you will eventually make money on those shares. So chill out. And that's really all I have to talk about today. We went over our trades, went over our double my account challenge. If any of you guys are interested in joining my Discord or on X, I would appreciate it if you would reach out to me, and I would like for you to subscribe outside of X. I've got Buy Me a Coffee subscription. It's the same price. You don't have to have an account, nothing like that, but it'll be just a reoccurring charge of $4 a month. Buy Me a Coffee is better than X. X cannot get their subscription service together. I've had so many problems just not getting paid at all, getting paid half price, half of what I should. Of course, as you know, the fees are 30% to even just to start off. So if you're interested, please reach out and let me show you. Let me just send you the link to Buy Me a Coffee, and then you're in for as long as you want to be in, and you can cancel whenever you want. So there's that. And so we're doing my double my account challenge, and we are trading daily. Every single day we're putting trades out. So almost every day. If we have a super green day, sometimes I don't. But for the most part, almost every day we're trading. So feel free to reach out, and I will show you how to subscribe and add you to my Discord. And we've got over 300 people, and some are just amazing traders and some are brand new. So we're having fun over there. So feel free to join us. Everybody's really cool and nice. It's a really, really good group, and I love everybody. So that's it. That's all I got for today. Thank you guys for listening in. Do we have any last minute questions? Real quick, I'm going to switch over to Discord and see if anybody had any questions there in the chat. Mm, no, but people are posting their profits over here. I love to see it. So many profits. Love it. Okay. So there's that. Let me switch over to X. See anybody's got anything in the DMs. Nope. Okay, perfect. So I think I went over everything. If not, then just feel free to reach out and ask. I do one of these every week, every Thursday, unless it's a holiday or I'm on vacation, I will do a live stream and answer questions and go over our positions. So that is it. If you need anything, just let me know. Thank you guys for joining.